Hey everyone, it's Jay here at Golf Quest. As promised, I've spent the last few months really watching a ton of YouTube instructional golf content. And I tell you, it's been a blessing and a curse. It's been a blessing because I've found some really great videos and information that I feel like are actually helping me improve my game. It's also been a curse though, because I'm watching so much, I have so many thoughts rushing through my head that sometimes I feel like I'm getting bogged down a little bit. Now, if I was to take all of that out on the golf course, it'd probably be a disaster. But while I'm still in here in the simulator waiting for spring to fully arrive, I feel like I can get away with it a little bit more and juggle these thoughts. Hopefully, I can solidify them so I'm not thinking about them when I finally do take them out on the golf course in about a month or so. Today, I'm going to take you through all the little changes that I'm making and the things that I'm working on, and also give you links as to where I got this information from. So if you want to check out any or all of it, you're free to do so. Now, please don't laugh. Some of the stuff I'm working on might be absolute no-brainer information to a lot of you, but for me, it was either a much-needed reminder or it was actually something completely new that I hadn't thought of before, and it was kind of like a light bulb went on. The first thing I was working on was slightly tweaking my setup and my stance. For this, I was watching a lot of content from Kerrod. I love Kerrod's videos and his delivery. He does a great job of focusing in on one thing for each video, and he doesn't waste time getting to the point. And he's really clear and concise, so I've appreciated that. For my swing personally, a couple things that I've changed is the width of my stance, just making sure that typically it's kind of underneath my shoulders, which again, I've heard before, but it's a good reminder. I'm flaring both of my feet out a little bit, which is supposed to help with rotation. So I'm trying to work on that as well. But two of the biggest things that I took away from watching his videos is shaft lean at address and also ball position. Kerrod recommends that the ball position is always about a club head length away from the inside of your lead foot. When I initially did this, I found that the ball position was maybe a bit too far back in my stance, and this felt actually quite a bit forward. And for someone like myself who tends to hit behind the ball a little too often, I actually didn't think this was going to work. But by moving it up, I don't know if it tricked my brain into going after the ball a bit more and maybe having that lateral bump forward, but I strike the ball a lot better with it being just a little bit forward in my stance. So I'm constantly checking now ball position to make sure it's in that correct position. As for shaft lean at address, previously I barely had any shaft lean at all at address. Now I'm making a conscious effort to point the butt end of the club at my lead hip at address to get that forward shaft lean. And again, it's really helped with my ball striking. The next big aha video that I watched was a video from Johnstone. Steve gives us a really useful drill to help with rotation, especially getting that back shoulder up and behind you while maintaining your position over the ball. He has us visualize pulling a crossbow back while pointing it at the ball. So one hand is holding the bow, your trail hand is holding the string of the bow, and your trail hand pulls back up, and as it does this, your shoulder automatically goes up and behind you while your body maintains its position over the ball. He recommends doing this drill a few times and then hitting a ball with a club. And when you go to hit the ball with the club, it turns out that your shoulder is going back into that position again. Then you put the club back down, you pull the bow a few more times, then you grab the club and you hit a ball. And I found that this really helped me maintain my body position over the ball and also helped me focus on getting that trail elbow back. Now, as I did this drill with Johnstone, I also added an element from a video that I saw from Me and My Golf that featured Nick Faldo. When Faldo talked about the backswing, he talked about where the butt end of the club should point in the backswing and that it should be just inside the path of the ball. When I started focusing on this in my swing and pointing the butt end of the club in the correct position, I found that I didn't hit nearly as many hooks and also helped with my ball contact. Now, I saved the best for last, the cream of the crop. The videos that have absolutely helped me the most take the biggest steps I feel in the last couple of weeks. And those are videos from Blois. He's a fellow Canadian and his channel I think is excellent. Now I'm a little biased because Blois is actually a left-handed golfer, and not only that, I found out by asking him on a live stream question that he is lead hand dominant as well. So he is very similar to me. He's right-handed playing left-handed golf. But what makes Matt really cool is on his channel, he's actually also learning to play right-handed and getting coaching on that as well. So even though he knows the game at a really high level, he is now relearning the game from the other side and getting coaching, and that coaching is really sinking in for me as well. So the two big ideas that I'm taking away from his channel so far is getting extension in the backswing. That's number one. In one of his videos, while learning to play right-handed, Matt is working with Coach Larry, and Larry tells Matt that he wants to extend his right arm, which in this case is his trail arm, back as far as he can, almost feeling like his trail arm is straight. And Larry tells him he's not going to get it straight, but he wants to get it more straight so it's not folding so much behind him. And that immediately clicked for me, because I know, especially from watching videos of myself on this channel, that I am folding that arm and it's getting behind me and the club's wrapping around my body a lot. So I went and tried this. I went and tried trying to get my trail arm extended out as far behind me as I can, and right away I started making better contact with the ball. But even more than that, I started to get rid of that draw side spin that I had too much of. I still had a little bit, but a lot less of it, which was fantastic. And also, finally, from Matt Blois and Larry, is the idea of the lower body engaging first before the upper body kind of begins the downswing, that separation piece where my front knee is kind of moving past my lead foot a little bit, and then my hands and shoulders start to begin the downswing. And again, I know I've heard this before, but I love the way that Larry and Matt talk it through and kind of show us. It's so clear and easy. At least it's easier for me when they've done it. So again, I feel like I can work on it a little bit easier on my own. So there you have it. Those are the major swing thoughts that I've been implementing into my game. Now I have to make sure again that I solidify these before I go out on the actual golf course. Otherwise, I know I'm going to be a mess. I remember reading a book a few years ago called Golf is Not a Game of Perfect. And the author of the book says, hey, you should be thinking about those swing thoughts while you're on the range. And even then it should be limited, maybe one or two. So probably thinking about too much in here. He said, but then when you go out on the golf course, you should just think about playing and not think about the swing thoughts. And he says you should have a conservative game plan and a cocky swing. And so that's kind of where I want to get to. I want to have a conservative game plan when I'm out on the course and a cocky swing. And I'm hoping that my journey will take me there. Before I sign off, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel by subscribing and liking and watching and commenting. It all helps. It's all appreciated. Recently, the channel just reached its first 100 subs. I know it's a really small milestone, but it's one step in the direction we want to go. So thank you so much. If you're new to the channel and you would consider subscribing, that would be great. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time on Golf Quest.